Okay, so these are some of the points that I came up with. So these are some of the features of a high quality or an outstanding PE curriculum that PE teachers came up with. So they suggested that a high quality or outstanding PE curriculum needs to be underpinned by aims, values and purpose. It needs to be sustainable. It needs to take into account the needs and the interests of the individual. So it needs to be responsive. It needs to have a local, national and international dimension. So there's certain things within some of those attributes that, you know, we need to consider when we're putting curriculums together. So it's not just about making sure that kids are really, you know, we talk about 2 hours of high quality PE. It's not just about having 2 hours where kids are physically active and running around. It's right. Are they? Is there some purpose to it? Are there aims and values for what we're trying to do? Is it sustainable? So all of these attributes we need to make sure we are implementing and supporting through our PE curriculums. This is something else I talk about quite a lot. Department for Education and Skills, I think back in 2004, 2005, there was a lot of discussion around, right, what do we want physical education to look like? And so what the Department for Education and Skills came up with when I think it was when school sport colleges were designed. So in England, we used to have what we call school sport colleges, which the government subsequently have now scrapped. So what the Department for Education and Skills came up with, they said, look, if you are going to deliver high quality PE, this is what it should look like. And we would like all kids to be receiving 2 hours of high quality PE a week. And they basically said, if you've got high quality PE, this is what you should be able to see. So you should be able to see kids that are physically active. You should be able to see kids that are motivated. Well, how do I know a kid's motivated? Well, they're not sat on the sidelines. I can see they're engaged. They're not standing around. So there's certain attributes, we talk about what are the attributes of a high quality PE curriculum, but there's also outcomes that I would expect to be able to see within high quality PE sessions or a high quality PE curriculum. But just try and relate this back to the assessment then. What would a what would a head teacher be expecting to see in your leaflet and your letter? Well, they would, if you're referencing high quality PE, that as a sports coach going into their school, you are going to demonstrate that your coaches are motivated, that they're going to develop good attitudes, that they're going to develop physical activity in young children. Then that's saying to the head teacher that, well, you know what you're talking about. You actually understand what are the attributes of a high quality PE curriculum. That's what I mean about being critical. You're referencing against standards that have been produced for physical education. So that, they're the things that I've come up with, which you can reference. But again, you might have come up with different attributes as well. There's a lot of good practice that takes place in a PE curriculum, but there's also a lot of bad practice. There's a lot of damage that has been done by poor teaching. And I know we've had changes to the PE curriculum in Wales and England, but that doesn't always mean that teachers follow what the national curriculum tells them to. And it doesn't always mean that teachers will interpret the curriculum correctly. And that's why we've got Ofsted and that's why we've got Estyn. Because Ofsted will go into schools in England and Estyn will go into schools in Wales, and they will make sure that teachers are delivering what they should be delivering against the national curriculum. If we had high quality PE in every school, then every school would be getting a grade of outstanding for their PE delivery. But they're not. We're getting schools that are being put into special measures because their teaching isn't up to scratch. So there's still a lot of work to do. And even though we might have these standards and these curriculums in place, we still don't necessarily deliver against those standards. We still don't deliver and interpret standards and curriculum appropriately. So how do we repair the damage? Well, I think it's about going back to basics. I think for us, we need to have some understanding of why this is taking place. So is PE a core subject? I think we should all know by now PE isn't a core subject. So you can see from the image on my left hand side here, the importance of PE in the school curriculum, that's where it sits. I'll just go back to my previous slide. If not, why not? Should it be? Well, I think that tells the message to us of why PE doesn't receive 2 hours within the curriculum each week and why it doesn't get the interest and the commitment from head teachers and teachers that it should do. Because schools are judged on their performance on academic subjects. They're judged on their performance of where they come in league tables. They're judged on their performance of how they do in examinations, whether it's SATs, whether it's GCSEs, whether it's numeracy and literacy tests. They're not judged on how good their kids are in terms of their physical education or how physically active they are. So there's still a lot of work to do around PE to raise the profile of it, to raise its image. And I know within Wales at the minute, the national curriculum is being changed. And the title is actually going to move away from being called physical education. It's going to be called health and well-being. Because the feeling behind that is if we make it about health and well-being, we're starting to bring in other areas that might give it a bit more credibility and a bit more of a standing in terms of how it is interpreted. Because it's about well-being then, all right? If you're doing PE now, you're developing kids' well-being, you're developing their health, you're developing their all these other attributes as well. So it's not a priority. It should be a priority because of all the things we talked about at the start. In terms of obesity, in terms of physical inactivity, in terms of all those other attributes that it can develop and contribute to. So we've mentioned PE is not a priority. All I want you to think about now, 5 or 10 minutes, do this individually, do it in groups. If you were following a high quality PE curriculum, what are the benefits that you would expect young children to get from following that high quality PE curriculum? And we've talked about some of them already. So I'll start you off with a couple. If you are following a high quality PE curriculum in your schools, you would expect young children to be physically active. Not physically inactive, physically active. I would expect my young children to be healthy and not have some of the issues to do with obesity that we recognise in young children nowadays. So started you off with a couple there. Think along those lines. If you're following a high quality PE curriculum, what benefits would we expect young children to get from that?